Happy Sunday, everyone. So, let's talk a bit more about anxious attachment. And I really want to talk to you about anxious avoidant combo and why it's actually anxious. So, basically, there are two types of anxiously attached people. And I want to start this audio by absolutely clarifying that all of us will experience all the attachment styles, most likely, majority of us at least, and that different attachment styles will be triggered by different people or different situations. And that is how it is. We are very complicated, we are very complex. Every single human being is complicated and complex. Keep that in mind. The media tries to simplify people, psychology even tries to simplify people. Sometimes the coaches online, relationship coaches, manifestation coaches try to really simplify people and things, but the fact is that people are complex. Okay, so having said that, I think it is very important also. This is not related to the attachment, but what we tend to do is we tend to, predict why somebody is acting a certain way or what something means. And we do that from our viewpoint. So we do it out of our own point of view, which is usually coming out of our fears, our anxieties, and then we predict something and we think that is the absolute truth. Oh, somebody didn't text me, that's because they hate me, or whatever your brain comes up with. And you're gonna believe that because your brain is gonna, find some logical explanation for that, some proof, all of that. But the fact is that your brain is not a prophet, and only like if they could, see exactly what's in somebody's mind, they could really say, okay, this must be it. So I want everybody to keep that in mind because we all do this. Everybody does this. Everybody does this and because everybody's brain works in the same way. It loves to predict things and come up with reasons why somebody said something or did something. And just remember, this is coming from your own mindset. Okay, it's not coming from the mindset of that person. So it will be the explanation. Your brain is going to serve you based on the data that your brain has, and that is not the actual data. That is not the actual reality. So having said that, let's get back into our topic, shall we? The attachments. So like I said, we are complex and complicated, and attachments often come in combinations. Even with the same person, there will be times you're going to feel secure. There are going to be times you're going to feel avoidant. There are going to be times where you're going to feel anxious, and it will be triggered by something. You have to have a trigger, so something will trigger different styles, different attachment styles. Okay, so when we are talking about anxious attachment in specific, which is what majority of you have at this moment at least, or had when we met. You always have to look at how you feel. So not necessarily how you react, I'm going to explain why, but how you feel. So how do you feel? That's it. It's simple as that. And for example, anxious attachment, it comes with a lot of worry that you're going to lose somebody, and both attachments do, right? The avoidant as well, everything except the secure. It is all quite similar. The reactions will be different sometimes, but usually in a lot of cases it will be a combination as well. Anything is possible. Remember that with attachment styles, it's not black or white necessarily. This is what I'm trying to say. So pay attention on the inner state, how it makes you feel. Not so much how you're gonna react, but how it makes you feel. But both of these, how it makes you feel and how you're gonna react, will tell you kind of your attachment style at that specific moment, or with that specific person, or with that specific thing that's happening that is triggering you. So yes, avoidance can be anxious as well. It's really complex, but when you're feeling anxious, basically there are two ways you can react. And one is anxious, the other one is avoidant reaction. Does that necessarily mean that you are an avoidant? No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. It means that out of your anxiety, you are trying to avoid reacting. So, avoidance will usually, like true avoidance, will usually try to avoid the whole thing, the whole relationship, run away from everything because they are afraid they're going to get hurt. So fear is the base of both of these attachment styles, definitely. However, this is where people tend to go wrong and sometimes think they're avoidant. So you're looking at how it makes you feel. So if you are having the typical anxious feelings like lots of anxiety, you can't think about anything else, you're preoccupied by this person, you're analyzing everything they said all the freaking time, you are worrying a lot, you're always afraid they're gonna walk away, you're gonna lose them, and you are scared of everything. Basically, here's the thing. Some people will, send a million texts. Will try to, every time they get triggered and they feel insecure, right? Their anxiety gets triggered. They will try to keep the person, so they will, send a bunch of texts trying to explain their worth, trying to explain themselves, begging, doing all these things, right? And we usually think this is what anxious attachment necessarily looks like. But there are different phases of anxious attachment, except that one. That is a very common one. And the other one I'm going to be talking about is also very common. By the way, guys, I hope everything is making sense. Anyways, so we have the anxiously attached that will send a million texts, that will try to show their worth, prove their worth, pick me, choose me. I need this. I need your validation. So they're gonna be like sending a lot of texts, or they're gonna be like, just trying. And this is something we talk about a lot on the channel. But the other spectrum is also something we have talked about in the past as well. So basically, you will be feeling the same way as the person that sends a million texts. So inside of you, the same things will be happening, but you will not be reacting like that. Instead, you're going to be reacting avoidant, because guess what? Oh, okay, I am being triggered, and now I feel anxious, and I'm pretty sure this person is going to walk away from me. So what I'm going to do to protect myself is I'm just not going to provoke it. I'm not going to send that text. I'm not going to do that, because that would be bad, right? So you can just not send a million texts, or just like even go into yourself, kind of. But the thing is, you will not try to escape, right? You will not try to walk away necessarily. You will just kind of do little avoidant things that will basically give you a sense of control, because you're going to be telling yourself, okay, I am not that attached. I am okay if they go. I'm fine. So this could, for example, be if you are texting with somebody, you will not save their number, or you will delete their number, but you will still kind of want to be with them and be in touch with them and all of that. But you will just delete the number, because it kind of makes that, a little control in your brain. That's just saying, okay, you're trying to detach basically, but you can't, obviously. This is not the way to do it. Or you are gonna delete the conversation. Something makes you anxious and scared, and then you delete the whole conversation, because like that, your brain doesn't have to focus on that. It doesn't work like that again, but that's what people tend to do. And little things like that, basically. hide the last scene online because it makes you anxious and it makes you check all the time and things like that. And you can see you're like trying to avoid getting hurt, right? But you are anxiously attached, really. You're not trying to avoid your feelings in terms of how a true avoidant would do, and you're not trying to avoid the whole love thing, but you are trying to avoid getting hurt in these little ways. I hope this makes sense. So, attachment styles are complicated, but basically, if you're feeling a lot of worry, a lot of anxiety, a lot of insecurity, and this is not coming from the fact that you are afraid to have feelings or that you are yourself afraid to open up and afraid to be in a relationship, but it's more coming out of the fact that you are not feeling safe and secure in a connection, that you're afraid you're going to lose somebody, you're afraid you're not going to be chosen. That's basically then anxious attachment. So avoidance are more about avoiding, right? Because the word tells you avoiding the whole thing because they just don't want to get attached. They don't want to get hurt. Nobody wants to get hurt, obviously, but they're trying to then avoid feelings, avoid people, avoid the whole thing. While the anxious people are different and they also want to avoid getting hurt, absolutely, but it's just a different type of attachment. So I hope this makes sense. I have tried to explain it the best way I could. In essence, either one of these attachments is not a secure attachment. They both come from something, and everybody needs to work on becoming safe and secure. And how do you do that? By feeling safe and secure within yourself. That's the only way, working on yourself. Nothing else will help.